This is Duane Esser. We are here at the Scottsdale Arabian Horse Show, and we are reporting for Railside Report. And it is our pleasure today to have Mr. Gene LaCroix. Thanks, Gene.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
Gene LaCroix is one of the most iconic individuals that we have here at the horse show. His accomplishments in his lifetime have been just numerous and uncountable. Gene, it's such an honor to take this time to interview you. Your family, you and your family have been such a part of the Scottsdale Arabian Horse Show for years. And I can't think of a family member that you have that hasn't had a big part of this horse show.
Yep, you're right. It goes back a long way. I think my first Scottsdale was 1958 when the show was at the Biltmore Park.
Wow.
So I think in total, in the last 50-some years, 52, 53 years, I've missed 1 year because I broke my leg two days before I was due to come here. So,
oh my gosh.
So that's a lot of history, and my whole family's been involved, as you know.
Well, thinking back of all the Scottsdale horse shows that you've been to, what was probably one of those moments or those horse shows or situations that stand out maybe the strongest, the most memorable?
It was I guess I think it was about 1962, and my dad had given me this park horse gelding, and his name was Haji Baba. And I can't remember the qualifying class, but I got in the championship, and I got in a 3-horse work-off. And one of the people in the work-off was Bob Whitney. And he's, you know, a legend in the saddle horse breed and so forth, and he trained some Arabians.
Sure.
And I got in a work-off, and the crowd, I was like 12 years old, and the crowd got behind me and clapped all the way around, and it was a park horse class.
Oh,
and that's when I decided, you know what, I really like this park horse stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. 12 years old.
12 years old, yeah.
Wow. So, and when I think of Gene LaCroix, I think I can't even think of in my mind all of the park horses I've seen you win on. It's just mind-boggling. And the performances those horses have given, one right after the other, is just amazing. You've always been such an inspiration to myself.
Well, thank
and
you.
I'm
That's
sure
very kind of you.
Tremendous number of people in the industry. When we think of the English pleasure horse or the English horse, the English pleasure horse obviously has evolved over the last 30 to 40 years, and it's come quite a ways. Could you talk to me a little bit about where you think it used to be, where it is today, where it's going? What are your thoughts on that? And you can be totally open.
Yeah, you know, it's the only way to be. I'm concerned, you know, we have 3 main saddle seat divisions. We have the park horse, we have the English pleasure, and now we have the country pleasure. And you know, I don't know, was it 15 years ago when the country pleasure came around, or 12 years ago, or whenever it was? The idea was great because it was for the athletic horse that wasn't overshod, and it didn't have to move level, and it created a niche for that kind of horse.
Sure.
And so you had the country horse that was light in the bridle and fresh, and maybe not the highest going, but you know, real high carriage and beautiful. Then you had the English horse that again should be light in the bridle and had a little more motion, maybe moved level and so forth, a little more excitement to them. And then you had the park horse that was elevated and really exciting and maybe not quite as harmonious, you know, because of the breed and the way they're built and so forth. Sure. But a very exciting class and lots of motion. Now I'm looking at the country class here at this show, and as I've seen this trend evolve, the country horses don't win unless they move at least level. They don't care quite that they're real light and airy in the bridle. The English pleasure horses are being ridden like park horses, and they're going above level, but their rear ends are doing whatever they're doing. And virtually there are no park horses that stand out. Once in a while a superstar will evolve, but the park horse class is dwindling, and maybe the better horses are in the English pleasure class, but they're being ridden like park horses rather than English pleasure horse. So I think it's getting messed up.
Okay, could you talk a little bit about that? You're talking about the English pleasure horse. Potentially, I'm hearing that you think it's maybe not so much of a pleasure to ride anymore.
It's not a pleasure to look at for me.
Okay.
But it seems like the standard, which is, the judges in the middle actually determine the standard, and it becomes very difficult when all your better horses are being overridden, and you'd like to see them,
sure,
but you still have to pin them. So you pin them, and then everybody else wants to win the next class. They tend to start overriding. And I was guilty of the same thing when I was still showing.
Sure.
So it's evolved where it's just become one horse, and it's I was out there with my wife Erin and trying to figure out these horses going around the warm-up, whether they were country horses,
isn't that amazing,
or they're English horses, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful horses.
Sure.
Not taken away from any of that. It's just the way they're being presented and being judged, and I don't even know how you correct it except that there has to be more of a defined standard.